this is Soundout here with my biggest review ever. Welcome back, dear viewers. I've been away for a while, but I decided to come back big with one of the largest Transformers ever made, Fortress Maximus. Now, this was the largest Transformer ever made, or tallest Transformer ever made, until Fall of Cybertron Metroplex came around and decided to be an inch taller. But this is still a really massive toy, as you can see by the box. There's a size comparison there because those are deluxe class Transformers in those shells, and those are 4-inch Star Trek figures in the other shells. The point I'm making is this is just the box, and it's absolutely massive. Now, this is not the original Fortress Maximus. This is the Takara Tomy Encore reissue. This means it's an exact replica of the Japanese release of Fortress Maximus, Master Sword and everything, and was released in Takara's Encore line this past April. I was able to get mine through Big Bad Toy Store for $324 plus shipping. And that is about how much it'll run you. Now, the box is pretty much identical to the Japanese release of Fortress Maximus, except the number is now 23 instead of A something or other. The Encore logo there, and it's the Takara Tomy logo instead of Takara. But to further prove my point about how big the box is, here's the side of it. And as you can see, you basically got what I'm going to show you, except this artwork. This artwork is really nice. It shows off all the headmasters, even Slugfest, not Slugfest Number 2, that's different guys. Snapdragon 8-Face are even on here, which is really neat. So you got all the headmasters pretty much on the back, with a brief thing about what the toy does, which is what I'm going to show you in this video anyways. So as you can see, very nice piece of artwork. I really like that. It's really cool. But yeah, this box is freaking huge. The shipping rate was gigantic. But what's even cooler is what you get with Fortress Maximus. Now before we take a look at the big guy himself, we're going to look what Fortress Maximus comes with. Just like Generation 1 Metroplex came with Scamper, Fortress Maximus comes with Cog in the form of Gasket and Grommet. Also, he's a headmaster, and this is his headmaster component. So before we take a look at Fortress Maximus itself, let's get these guys out of the way. So we'll start off with Gasket and Grommet. They're two vehicles. This is Grommet. This is Gasket. And they don't really do much. They just kind of roll. You can use them with the ramp systems and the garages on Fortress Maximus's various modes. But these guys do have a robot mode together. Clicking them together here and moving the arms will allow them to transform into Cog. Cog also gets a small laser rifle, or pistol. So, that is Cog. Now, there's not much to Cog. There's pretty much nothing to Cog. He gets 3 stickers, his arms can move, and that's it. It's a nice little bonus, though. It adds to allow for the playability when his vehicle modes. And I do like it. I always like when larger Transformers come to smaller ones. It's kind of neat. Moving on to the more exciting of the two, we take a look at Fortress or Spike, depending on which country you're in. For the remainder of this video, I'll be referring to him as Fortress. Now this is the Headmaster unit. The first Headmaster unit. If you're not familiar with Headmaster, they have arm movement. Their legs can move a bit. And the whole idea behind a Headmaster is that a small robot becomes the head of a larger robot. And Fortress Maximus does that in the extreme way. Now, this guy is Spike in America. And, yeah, Spike Wiki. And he's Fortress's actual body in Japan. So anyways, you fold him up like this, flip open this panel, and now he's the head for this guy. Flipping down this panel here, you can see he gives a power reading of infinity because he's Fortress. So now this is Fortress's Transtector body, or Cerebros, again depending on which country. Now he's very simple. Now he's actually himself a headmaster for Fortress Maximus. We'll go over that in a bit. So as we can see, he's got a few details. His arms move. His legs can move too, which is neat. They can move out as well, but that's about it. Now you do get one accessory. If you have the original American release, he just had a gun. Now if you were in Japan or bought the Encore reissue like I did, you also get a tiny Master Sword. I know, that looks like a pretty big sword, huh? Just wait till you see the real Master Sword. Anyways, so that's basically all there is to Fortress. Now we'll see Fortress again, but to get him prepared for the city mode, we need to remove his head, and he actually has a command mode, which requires folding in his fists, sliding his arms around, bending him in half, and this is his command mode. All will make sense when we take a look at Fortress Maximus' city mode. So we're going to begin in the city mode because it's basically one of the more recognizable aspects of Fortress Maximus. It doesn't have its own name, so from now on I shall call it Maxville. Without further ado, we do have several accessories that need to be placed onto the city mode, namely this rifle here, which can plug in as a tower, this double-barreled cannon that plugs in as a tower, and this radar dish that is literally used for this mode and this mode alone. Now, there are several gimmicks within this giant city, so let's take a look at those. So what's really cool is that you can take Fortress and integrate him into the command center. This flap here and this flap there open up. You take Fortress in his command mode, and he slides right in here. And this folds down here to lock away, and the back panel holds him in. And now he's become this little command center. Moving up to this radar dish here, you can see that there's a little gear that allows it to spin. How adorable. In addition to that, we do have a helipad where you can put any small helicopter transformer. So as you can see here, there are several small ramp areas with all this nice sticker detail. This one's kind of special. We'll take a look at that one next. But these are actually kind of garage areas where you can store small transformers like spy changers, either above or below. You can also use the red section of this ramp here and launch them off. We can show you that better on the other ramp. As you can see here, you just use this little red tray and launch the spy changer off to his doom. So as you can see over here, you got the classic 80s staple of a jail cell for any evildoers that happen to try to attack Fortress Maximus alone, apparently. Opening this up, you can see that there's quite a bit of space in there. By quite a bit of space is the largest Decepticon that I get to fit in there is Fans Project's Quake. And he's completely boxed in. So anyways, as you can see here, you get this stairwell, which can either be used for holding spy changers in vehicle mode, or if you like, you can transform your spy changers and they can stand here. Either way, it's up to you. And if you want to just trap a poor spy changer inside, you can do that as well. So, now for the big gimmick of Fortress Maximus. On either side there are these small ramps that allow you to drive a spy changer, other small car transformer, or plane transformer and a bot shot. They can drive in there, and there's a small crank that we'll show in a second that's back here that allows the car to go up. So once you have the small car cranked up to the top, you can press this red button and he'll go flying down the ramp. And as you can see here, this is the crank that is used for that elevator gimmick you just saw. It's really hard to reach and kind of in a bad spot for anyone that has larger hands than that of a small child. So now we're going to transform Maxville into Battleship Maximus. Now this is very simple overall, but first off we need to remove the radar dish and throw it away because it's never used again. Next you want to kind of fold up every little ramp here. These white ramps fold up and there's two little tabs that they can plug into, like that. There's a gray slot here that closes that up. Turning around over here, close up the jail cell. Close up the stairwell. Take the legs and rotate them out, which seems simple, but it takes a lot of effort the first time. There's little ramps that need to be closed. The feet fold down, and then this piece comes around like that. And moving the leg, that folds like that. The small ramp folds up. This closes up. That closes in. pick the toy up, fold the red ramp in, bring it around, fold this foot down, bring these cannons down, and open up this cannon there. And now we have Battleship Maximus. So Battleship Maximus is the largest of all three modes that Fortress Maximus has. It is even bigger than his robot mode because it's basically his robot mode with stuff sticking out the back and the front. Now, looking at this massive thing, you do have additional weaponry in his legs here, or what will be his legs, to provide guns, but overall it's basically the robot mode laying on his back. This is why we can't get the entire thing in frame. Now, the designers thought it'd be a really clever idea to make more of this mode, so they added wheels, so this massive thing can actually roll, which surprises me. Now, there's very little gimmicks in this mode. It's mostly supposed to be giant battleship that kills things. So, backing it up here, we can take the previously mentioned in the other segment, gasket and grommet can fit in these small compartments in the front of the ship. Now, the only other gimmick that we have is present up here. Because Fortress is plugged into the command center still, his headmaster, which really had no place to go originally, can fold up and actually sit inside this small cockpit. But other than that, Battleship Maximus is kind of a halfway point between Maxville and Fortress Maximus. So, I know what you've all been waiting for. Let's go and transform Fortress Maximus. Alright, first off, you want to close up the several guns that are on the robot mode, including the big block right here. Then you want to remove these guns, put them off to the side. You want to remove the headmaster unit. You also want to remove Fortress. He will go off to the side to do his thing. And you want to close up the box here. Now comes the really difficult part, standing up the robot. So first you want to flip the feet up, and then stand the whole robot mode. Oh my god, this thing is tall. Next up, you want to split the tower section. These will fold back. And while you do that, you want to click this piece out of place, fold it along his back, and this will all tab together in the back. You want to then bring down his arms and bring them up. Bring down his arm, bring it up, fold this box away, and now, at this point, you want to take Fortress, who's at this stage in the game, still in command mode. You want to make sure he is all prepped to go, which includes replacing his headmaster. Now his headmaster fits in here. You can leave the faceplate up. I prefer to put the faceplate down. Once that's in place, you got to slide the arms forward, flip him around, click his legs, and then bring them down. That avoids stress marks, in my opinion and experience. So fold that down, open this up to see the nice painted eyes, and let's move on. And now Fortress Maximus can head on. So here is the big guy himself, Fortress Maximus, largest transformer ever made. And I still say that despite the new Fall of Cybertron Metroplex being a little bit taller, but he's not this bulky. So you can see Fortress Maximus is quite wide. In fact, he has more, I think he's more substantial than Metroplex will be. Now, he does have several accessories. Gun turret slash tower becomes a handheld pistol. Gun turret slash tower is now a rifle. And basically what you're looking at is what was originally included with the American release of Fortress Maximus. Now this is not the American release, it's the Encore release done in Japan. This means he does have a bonus accessory, and a substantial bonus accessory at that. Just like how Fortress had the Master Sword, Fortress Maximus has a Master Sword. Namely, a really, really, really big one. This is the largest weapon for a Transformer I've ever seen. And I can understand why it wasn't released in America, because this thing technically could be used as a small dagger. I could use this as a weapon if it was just a bit sharper. I could seriously hurt someone with this. And I'm glad it's not sharp, because I'm accident prone sometimes. Point is, this is a big sword for a really big robot. And it's kind of ridiculous in the end. And I said kind of twice. I know, sometimes when you see a sight like this and realize that it's the height of 4 of your Transformer shells, you kind of freak out a bit. There's more, though, to this robot mode. For example, he does have a range of articulation. He has no head articulation because that's not how headmasters work. He does have shoulder movement. It is 360. He does have the elbow movement. He does have the wrist swivel. His legs can move out, forward, not really back, and the feet can pivot, and the knees can do awkward things, but that's all transformation. Still, really kind of impressive how much articulation he has for being a G1 toy that is this large. Now, in addition to having all of those features, he does have a cockpit in here, which you could, have quite take over Fortress Maximus. It's a bit small to fit in there. But you do have the ability to hold someone in there. And the jail still works, the stairwell still works, the garages and his feet still work. It's just kind of ridiculous when it's a giant robot instead of a base. Now he does have an armed mode, where he has a ton of weapons. Those being the ones in his legs, the one on the side, which is mostly die-cast metal, I might add. The ones here in his hands that do pop up, in his arms, which also pop up. That is on both sides of him. And to top it all off, he's got giant cannons in his stomach. Because he didn't have enough guns to begin with, he has to add some. Some that pop out really easily, I might add. So basically, this guy's going to walk into a fight and pretty much win anything. And that's really impressive. And that's a lot of gun barrels. I'm looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 different guns. 17, 18, 19. 19 gun barrels on one robot. It doesn't get more awesome than this. But it does get more awesome, as this is the tallest Transformer that was ever made for the longest time. And from head to toe, he clocks in at about 22.5 inches tall. This guy is absolutely massive. As well exampled by this next size comparison I'll be doing. As you can see here, he completely dwarfs Unicron and Omega Supreme, which are two of the larger Transformers in my collection. And that is Fortress Maximus. All of that stuff will run you about $324 nowadays if you're buying the Encore release from an online retailer. If you do want to get a vintage one, it's going to be a lot more expensive despite the reissue, and it's basically the same thing. It's even closer to a Japanese release because it has the Master Sword, which the American did not, and it has the new stickers and the painted eyes, which really add to the overall value. This is one of the things in Transformers. This is one Transformer from G1 that I actively really wanted ever since I've been collecting Transformers and thought I'd never have because of how expensive he was going for on eBay. But now that this reissue has happened, I have fulfilled one of my collecting dreams, and now I have this guy in my collection, and I'm really happy. Fortress Maximus is really expensive and really big. If you can't go for either of those, well, it's kind of hard to justify a purchase. Now, if you do have a small area to display in, I'm warning you, he takes up a lot of space. And if you don't collect G1 Transformers, but still think this guy is cool, he is cool. I can say that from a non-G1 collector. But I am warning you, this toy is supremely massive, and if you are going to get him, be warned, shipping costs will be high and storage space will be limited. But that is Fortress Maximus, a really fantastic toy overall, and I'm really glad that I own him. So anyways, be sure to stay tuned for more Transformers reviews and other awesome stuff, and be sure to check out HeroTaku.com for all your geek news and more. Until next time, goodbye.